Colleagues, maybe let me start with the normal house rules. Those who have cell phones, just put them on silence before we start. My name is William Baloy. Let me welcome you to today's post-cabinet. Let me welcome you to today's post-cabinet briefing that will be done by the Minister in the Presidency. She is accompanied by the Acting Director General for GCIS, Ms. Nomonde Mnokwa. On sign language, we will be assisted today by Milambo Kebe, who is here. Let me also welcome all of you here, those who are in Roni Mamwepa House and those who are joining virtually. Without taking much of the time, we will invite Minister in the Presidency to take us through the decisions of Cabinet. Thank you very much.
I'm going to have to ask GCIS to procure a bigger space. The microphones take space for my for my tablet, so it becomes quite difficult. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning to South Africans. This is the statement of the Cabinet meeting that took place on Wednesday, the 3rd of September, 2025. Yesterday, we felt that we needed to give the members of the media an opportunity to attend the final send-off of their colleague Tsidi Madia, who was being laid to rest yesterday. So in her honor, but also to allow the media to attend her funeral, we then decided it's proper for us as the Government Communication and Information System to then reschedule the media briefing, post-cabinet briefing, to today, Friday, the 5th of September 2025. On issues from the economy, from the environment on the economy, the National Freight Rail Network, Cabinet welcomed the announcement by the Transnet Rail Infrastructure Manager, a division of Transnet, of the new train operating companies. This major development in the freight and logistics roadmap and the implementation of South Africa's rail policy marks a significant milestone in the advancement of the identified structural reforms which are key in unlocking economic development in South Africa. The third-party access to the rail network will improve the utilization of the network and thus increasing rail efficiency, reduce network unit costs by involving more operators, increase revenue that will contribute to investment in the maintenance and modernization of the network, and reducing the external cost of freight and logistics and improving the competitiveness of rail as a mode of transport. The initial allocations on a total of 41 routes and 6 corridors are as follows. The North Corridor, there are 6 new entrants on 15 routes for transportation of coal and chrome. On the Iron Ore Corridor, 1 new entrant on 1 new route for transportation of iron ore. On the Cape Corridor, 2 new entrants on 2 routes for transportation of manganese. On Northeast Corridor, 6 new entrants, 16 routes for transportation of coal, chrome, magnetite, fuel, and containers. And on the Central Corridor, 1 new entrant on 2 routes for transportation of coal and containers, which are manganese containers. Then lastly, on the Container Corridor, 4 new entrants, 5 routes for transportation of containers, coal, and sugar. The Transnet Rail Infrastructure Manager estimates that the new train operating companies will carry an additional 20 million tons of freight per annum from the 2026-2027 financial year. This will supplement the Transnet Freight Rail, or TFR as is commonly known, forecasted volumes and contribute to government's target of increasing freight moved by rail to 200 million tons per annum by 2029. This development is also part of the progress Transnet is making towards becoming a more efficient and agile enterprise. On new mining investment, Cabinet welcomed the opening of the Kala Shallows project by West Wits Mining Limited in the Witwatersrand Basin at an investment of $90 million. This is South Africa's first new underground gold mine in 15 years. This investment signals renewed confidence in the potential of new gold projects and reaffirms South Africa as a mining investment country of choice. With production scheduled to begin in 2026, the South African economy will receive a major boost in new jobs, skills development, and economic development. On women economic empowerment, Cabinet welcomed the strategic public-private partnership between the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities and Standard Bank of South Africa. The partnership will advance women empowerment and includes an investment of $10 million towards the African Women Impact Fund. The African Women Impact Fund will support women fund managers with businesses in Africa with an aim of addressing the $42 billion funding gap experienced by women entrepreneurs in the African continent. On cabinet decisions, the first one is on the hosting of the 2027 ICC Cricket World Cup. Cabinet received an update on the decision of the International Cricket Council, the ICC, to grant South Africa the rights to host the 2027 Cricket World Cup. This is another confirmation of South Africa's international standing as both a host country and home of sports and entertainment. South Africa has an impeccable history of hosting successful sporting events, and it has hosted the first Soccer World Cup on an African soil in 2010 and the Cricket World Cup in 2001. These world sporting events were catalytic to the massive infrastructure development projects in the country. We'll all recall that when we moved towards 2001 and also 2010, the infrastructure upgrades and infrastructure build of this country were at another level. And during that period, we created, and the economy created, a large number of jobs. And we are hoping that also as we move towards the hosting of the ICC Cricket World Cup, the infrastructure upgrades and the tourism development will lend us into more jobs as the economy starts to create more jobs. Similarly, Cabinet approved the request to bid to host the Formula One Grand Prix in Kyalami for a 3-year period commencing in 2027. The bid is fully financially supported by reputable South African private sector, and if successful, will continue to create jobs and economic development as we prepare to host. The mere granting of an opportunity for South Africa to bid for the prestigious Formula One Grand Prix is an affirmation of South Africa as an important world actor and the confidence in the country. So only good things are happening in South Africa. Incubation and Business Development Services Policy Framework. Cabinet approved the publication of the Incubation and Business Development Services Policy Framework for public comments. This is led by the Department of Small Business Development to provide regulatory reform for small enterprise ecosystem by clarifying the roles of various stakeholders and promoting coordinated efforts. This forms part of the broader National Integrated Small Enterprise Development Master Plan, which serves as the guiding framework for all role players involved in accelerating micro, small, and medium enterprises growth through measurable programs, products, and services. Key objectives include enhancing the quality and standards of business development services, ensuring better access to support for MSMEs, especially in townships and rural areas, and fostering innovation and entrepreneurship. The framework places mentorship and incubation at the center of MSME, commonly known as SMME development, and support for small businesses. Business incubators play a critical role in nurturing the growth of early-stage businesses by providing structured support, resources, and a conducive environment to secure sustainability. On the air freight strategy for South Africa, Cabinet approved the publication of the draft air freight strategy for South Africa for public comments. The strategy aims to address current challenges such as fragmented cargo corridors and high entry barriers and improve competition and infrastructure connections with other markets. Furthermore, the strategy will benefit exporters, importers, and logistics companies by fostering economic growth and facilitating global trade through a more integrated air cargo network. The national intervention at Ditsobotla local municipality. Cabinet received an update on the status of Ditsobotla local municipality in the northwest. To restore stability in the municipality, Cabinet has approved that Ditsobotla municipality be placed under administration in terms of Section 139(7) of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa of 1996. This intervention is done in accordance with the Municipal Finance Management Act of 2003. A recovery plan will be instituted under the stewardship of the Departments of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs and the National Treasury. Further, the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs will coordinate an intergovernmental relations structure to facilitate restoration of administrative functions to assist the municipality in fulfilling its legislative mandate. A joint operations task team will also focus on criminal activities that are besieging the municipality. On bills, South African Judicial Education Institute Amendment Bill. Cabinet approved the submission of the South African Judicial Education Institute bill to Parliament for further processing. The main purpose of the bill is to amend the current South African Judicial Education Institute Bill Act of 2008 to achieve the necessary restructuring of the governance model of the institute. The Act established the institute to provide education and training for judicial officers to promote the independence, impartiality, and effectiveness of the courts. The envisaged restructuring entails the appointment of a dean and clarification of the appointment and the functioning of the director of the institute. Business Licensing Bill 2025. Cabinet considered and approved the publication of the Business Licensing Bill for public comments. The aim of the bill is to amend the Business Act of 1991, and the amendments seek to establish a modern and efficient business licensing framework that fosters economic growth and regulatory efficiency, but also protect the participation of South Africans in the informal and small business sector. On appointments, all appointments are subject to verification of qualifications and relevant security clearances. Mr. Barton Vincent Campbell as Deputy Director General, Recreation, Development and Sports Promotion at the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. Cabinet approved the appointment of Ms. Lorraine Naidoo as Supply Chain Manager Executive in the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. Cabinet approved the appointment of Mr. Dennis Mngadi as the CEO of the South African Maritime Safety Authority. Actually, yes, yeah, it's the appointment. And Cabinet approved the extension of contract of Mr. Shonisani Munjezi as the Chief Executive Officer of the South African National Biodiversity Institute, or SANDI. Cabinet approved the appointment of Regional Executive Managers for the South African Social Security Agency, who are Ms. Mapula Constance Pierre for Limpopo region, Ms. Karabelo Eli Mojanaga, Northern Cape, and Ms. Nkele Ntle in the Free State. The non-executive directors of the Public Investment Corporation PIC Limited Board, Ms. Dorothy Kobe, Mr. Stephen Boikanyo, Ms. Retabile Nkosi, Mr. Mpumelelo Maseko, Dr. Mugwena Maluleke, which is a reappointment, Ms. Lindiwe Mutswane, Mr. Matimba Shiburi, Ms. Lerato Makwetla, Ms. Nosiphiwo Balfo, and Ms. Lindy Bodweg, who's the representative of the National Treasury in the board. Cabinet approved the appointment of non-executive directors on the board of the Land and Agricultural Development Bank, commonly known as the Land Bank. Professor Johann Frederick Kirsten, the reappointment. Ms. Action Pillay, reappointment. Mr. Mabuta Athamuloto, Ms. Phumzile Hazel Maseko, Ms. Simtandi Lefort, Ms. T.F. Matlala, Mr. Mcebisi Skwacha, and Shikongomelo Maluleke. Cabinet approved the appointment of members of the Productivity South Africa Board. Ms. Zola Baba Shefu as the chairperson, Ms. Beverly Jack, Mr. Gili Dlamini, Mr. Godfrey M. Silimatsila, Mr. Thabo Muneri, Ms. Sina M.R. Musetla, who's a DTIC representative, and Ms. Nolukholo F.N. Sigaba, who's a Department of Employment and Labor representative. Updates to Cabinet. Phase 2 of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. Cabinet received an update on the progress with the implementation of the Phase 2 of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. This project, on completion, will ensure water security for the province of Gauteng. The project completion is scheduled. The project completion schedule is estimated to be the end of 2029, with the construction progress on both the Polihali Dam and the Polihali-Katse transfer tunnel. However, the impoundment of water in the dam is expected to commence in 2028 to enable the Department of Water and Sanitation to allow Rand Water to start extracting more water from the Vaal River system to supply the Gauteng municipalities by 2028. G20. Cabinet received an update on the G20 preparations and welcomed the launch of the G20 Experts Task Force by President Cyril Ramaphosa. The G20 Experts Task Force will examine global wealth inequalities and its impact on economic growth, poverty, and multilateralism. This initiative, which is the first of its kind for the G20, is in line with South Africa's commitment to use its G20 presidency to address issues that affect low-income countries, such as rising inequality and high sovereign debt burdens. The G20 Expert Task Force will deliver the first-ever report on global inequality to G20 world leaders at the G20 Leaders Summit in South Africa in November 2025. The countdown to G20 Leaders Summit is underway, and South Africa continues to host and facilitate preparatory meetings and adoption of declarations by the different task forces and work streams. The following G20 Summit preparatory meetings were held over the past few weeks. The first one is the 6th Health Working Group meeting held virtually from the 1st to the 2nd of September 2025, which discussed the strengthening of global health systems and preparing for future challenges. And secondly, the 3rd Task Force second meeting on food security held from the 1st to the 3rd of September 2025 in Egypt to address the main outcomes of the G20 Food Security Task Force, and they discussed the ministerial statement on global food security, which is expected to be adopted during the G20 ministerial meeting that will be held in South Africa on the 19th September 2025. On the Global Small and Medium Enterprises ministerial meeting, Cabinet received a report on the successful Global Small Medium Enterprise ministerial meeting held in collaboration with the International Trade Center, commonly known as the ITC, and the Startup 20 in Johannesburg from the 21st to the 24th of July 2025. The meeting served as the vital platform for fostering partnerships and setting a collaborative agenda aimed at propelling small and medium enterprises towards a more sustainable, inclusive, and prosperous future. The discussions revolved around key themes such as enhancing access to finance, promoting digital transformation, and facilitating green transitions within the SME sector. The event attracted 750 participants from 66 countries, which include 52 ministers and deputy ministers. On the outcomes of the inaugural Africa Water Investment Summit held in Cape Town from the 13th to the 15th of August 2025, Cabinet received an update on the outcomes of the inaugural Africa Water Investment Summit held in Cape Town from the 13th to the 15th of August 2025, which was officially opened by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Held under the auspices of the African Union Summit and the High-Level Panel on Water Investment for Africa, the summit showcased 80 bankable water and sanitation projects from 38 countries, including 36 projects from South Africa. A significant outcome was the launch of the Global Outlook Council on Water Investment, a G20 legacy initiative aimed at elevating water investment within global diplomacy. The summit secured approximately $12 billion in commitments, making significant progress towards closing Africa's $30 billion annual water investment gap. The summit aligns closely with our national priorities as outlined in the MTDP, the National Development Plan, and the AU Water Vision, and the outcome reinforces South Africa's leadership in shaping continental water security and infrastructure development. On the Integrated Public Service Month, Cabinet received an update on the implementation of the 2025-2026 government-wide and year-long Integrated Public Service Focus Program to be launched in September 2025 as a structured platform to advance professionalism and rebuilding public trust in the public service. The Integrated Public Service Program serves as a platform to acknowledge and showcase public sector excellence and to recognize civil servants who serve the nation with pride and distinction. It is being commemorated under the theme Professionalizing the Public Service to Build Trust and Restore Confidence in Government. The program is anchored on 5 strategic pillars that include the visibility of the executive in communities, responsiveness, professionalism, and ethical conduct of public servants, trust and citizen participation. Cabinet also supported the establishment of Intergovernmental Relations Forum to coordinate the annual IPSM calendar of activities and promote cross-government collaboration. Upcoming events: presidential visit to Northwest Province. President Cyril Ramaphosa and the Cabinet will undertake an oversight visit. It's not an oversight, it's a visit to the Northwest Province on Friday, the 12th September 2025 in Rustenburg. The visit is part of the President's initiative to strengthen support to provincial governments and improve coordination of efforts to unlock provincial economic growth and improve service delivery. This is the 5th such visit to the provincial executive. Deputy President Paul Mashatile's oversight visit to the Western Cape. Deputy President Paul Mashatile is conducting an oversight in the Western Cape province from the 4th to the 6th of September 2025 in the Overberg district to showcase government's efforts to fast-track land reform program. The Deputy President will also lead a Clean Cities and Townships campaign at the Zwelihle Township in the Overstrand local municipality as part of fostering cleaner, healthier, and more sustainable urban and rural environments. South Africa Parole Review Summit. The Department of Correctional Services will host the South African Parole Review Summit from the 22nd to the 23rd of September 2025 in Pretoria. The summit will take place during Corrections Week, which focuses on the department's role in rehabilitation and community reintegration of offenders. The summit will bring together experts, practitioners, and stakeholders for a discussion on successes, challenges, and current trends in the parole system. National commemorations. The following events will be celebrated in the month of September: Heritage Month, Tourism Month, and the South African Police Services National Commemoration Day and the Integrated Public Service Month. On Heritage Month celebrations, South Africa recognizes and celebrates the rich culture, heritage, and traditions of our diverse nation. The theme of this year is Reimagine Our Heritage Institutions for a New Era. Deputy President Paul Mashatile is scheduled to lead the official Heritage Day celebrations that will take place on the 24th of September 2025 at the Brighton Stadium in Oudtshoorn in the Western Cape. On Tourism Month, We are commemorating it under the theme Tourism and Sustainable Tourism, which celebrates South Africa's rich culture and heritage and travel experiences. Tourism Month shines a spotlight on the importance of the tourism industry in community empowerment and job creation. It further encourages the South Africans to travel domestically and to sample all our nation has to offer. Short left. SABC's National Commemoration Day is commemorated on the first Sunday of September every year as the nation pays tribute to the men and women of the South African Police Service who lost their lives in the line of duty, paying the ultimate price in the service and securing the people of South Africa. Cabinet calls on all and everyone to support the police as they go about their difficult task of ensuring a safe and crime-free South Africa. On messages, we start with condolences. Cabinet expressed its condolences to the friends and families of former chairperson of the NCOP and our ambassador to Kenya, Mr. Mninwa Johannes Mahlangu, affectionately known as MJ, and one of the first generation of MPs to be elected to Parliament in 1994. He was part of the group that drafted the Constitution and further represented South Africa with distinction internationally. To the friends, family, and colleagues of Sidi Madia, renowned journalist and broadcaster, whose trumpet carried the heartbeat of the people of South Africa from the streets of Sapphire Town to the world stage and became one of the respected trumpeters and flaghorn players. Anti-apartheid activist and former National Security Advisor to Nelson Mandela, Mr. Neil de Beer, who contributed immensely to the history and politics of our country through the various roles he played in a number of formations. Entrepreneur and founder of the popular black-owned craft beer brand Soweto Gold Beer, Dumiso Madlala. May their souls rest in peace. On congratulations, Cabinet extended its congratulations and well wishes to Akani Simbini for finishing a very close second in the men's 100 meters at the 2025 Diamond League final in Zurich. Joanne Duplessis for finishing third in the Wells javelin throw at the 2025 Diamond League final in Zurich. Tristan Lawrence for winning the Omega European Masters Golf Tournament in Switzerland for the second time in 4 years. Springbok women for reaching the quarterfinals of the Rugby World Cup for the first time in their history, and we wish them well as they face France on Sunday, the 7th of September 2025, and we are calling all South Africans that on Sunday we are all dressed in the Springboks women colors and we support the Bokke as they go out to face France, and we are rooting for them and rooting for their victory. We want to congratulate the organizers of the Scorpion Kings live concert for achieving a sold-out concert on the 29th of August, which drew a record of 50,000 fans, and South Africans, old and young, did not sleep, and who thought that when you go to a jive music festival, you also go to church at the same time. We are South Africans. There's no DNA, just RSA.
Thank you very much, Minister. Minister, we want to also thank you very much for moving the post-cabinet briefing from the usual Thursdays to Friday in honor and recognition of the departed soul of one of our stakeholders, Sidi Madia. Thank you very much for that. Colleagues, let me first invite questions in the House, and then we will go to questions online. The drill is the same. I'll see by way of hand will recognize you, note, and then we allow you to speak. Minister, it appears in the house we are all fine. I would check. No, there is a hand. I nearly move on. Yes. Can press the knob there, and then when it's red, then you speak. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So just perhaps would like to hear from the minister. She's just spoken about what happened in the municipality that's just been put under administration. Just perhaps a comment on local municipalities and being put under administration, and perhaps just in terms of how municipalities are expected to actually work.
Thank you. Introduction.
Sorry, Romile Madala from News in Africa.
Thank you very much. Let me see if there is any other question. I'm not sure, Minister, if we can take also just one online question.
Yes.
Thank you. Online question. Probably you can put it off. Tagalani.
Thank you, Mr. B. Online so far we have two questions. One is aligned to the municipality in the Northwest that is put under administration from Natasha Perry from the SABC. And the question is, will Cabinet also intervene in the Ramotsiri local municipality also in the Northwest? And we have another question from Paul representing Bloomberg, and the question is, has China agreed to postpone the BRICS naval exercise? Thanks.
Thank you very much. Minister, those are the two questions that we have online. So I would request that, Minister, you might answer the questions, and from there on, Minister, you might assist us in closing the briefing session unless there would be some follow-up questions. Thank you very much.
On the question around China agreeing to postpone the naval exercise, was there such a request that there must be a postponement? On the intervention in whether the government will intervene in Ramotsiri Moilwa municipality, the interventions, how it works, it starts at the provincial government. I'm sure you've seen the statement from the Northwest Provincial Executive and the MEC responsible for local government support on the work they are doing around Ramotsiri Moilwa. And on the specific, you want the specifics of how the intervention works. If we take you to section 139 of the Constitution, it tells you the nature of the intervention that you do. I'm quickly trying to open that section of the Constitution. And we're intervening in terms of, should I read you the full section or should I just go to subsection 7 for you? The subsection 7 says, because the provincial executive intervenes at a particular point, when their intervention does not go far enough or they do not have enough constitutional powers, then the national government takes over. So that's what the intervention is meant. We are going to then send a team to then manage various sections of the municipality. That team is coordinated, as per the statement, by the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs and the National Treasury. And then, but other departments that are that are required in terms of their functioning will have to go in as well, whether it's water, human settlements, all the functions that are done by that municipality, the teams will come in to then support that work. That's how the intervention works, to make sure that we can then move towards stability of council, because the interventions are not just for the politics, they are for service delivery, to ensure that the residents of that municipality continue to receive the services, the municipality continues to fulfill its obligations, and therefore they cannot be hamstrung by the challenges of council. So we want to make sure that's what the intervention is made for. Similarly, in Ramotsiri, the provincial government intervention is done for that. I've just been alerted that the Department of Defense and Military Veterans has issued a statement with regards to the naval exercise of China that they were working on together. So you'll have to go to the Department of Defense and Military Veterans for that question. It was not part of the cabinet discussions. Thank you very much. And I'd like to take this opportunity. I'm being told there are 2 more questions. Is it online?
Online.
I'll stand here and get the questions read to me.
Thanks, Minister. The question that follows comes from Cindy Sontar from the Gauteng network, is on the National Freight Rail Network. And the question is, can you elaborate on how the introduction of new train operating companies will address the current challenges facing the rail network, and what specific benefits can be expected for the economy and job creation?
And the second one?
I seem to see this one. I can't see another
Khumbudzo Pasha, IOL.
This is from Khumbudzo Pasha from the IOL.
The question is from Khumbudzo Pasha. On the point of a new gold mine in 15 years, will this mine prioritize local processing of this gold through to create a chain of employment opportunities, or are we going to continue witnessing the exploitation of the country? How long is this mine licensed to operate for?
Thank you. I will not go in. I will not know how long it has been licensed to operate for. In terms of whether we'll process gold locally instead of exporting, you'll recall that the country has approved the critical minerals strategy of the country, which prioritizes beneficiation at source or closest to source. Therefore, they move as we move forward. We are prioritizing not exporting stone, rocks and dust, but exporting finished or semi-finished products. So the priority is to beneficiate at source, but the other details you can get from the mining company themselves directly. On the national rail, on the introduction of the new companies, you'll recall the statement, the briefing by the Minister of Transport, Minister Barbara Creasy. But what happens is that you'll recall the major issue that we've had in our freight and logistics that caused us a challenge was that we did not have enough cargo wagons to rail the ores from various corridors to the point to their destination points. The introduction of these companies means that then a private investment will bring in that investment to make sure that there is enough wagons to move the ores. But secondly, their participation will also mean the investment in the maintenance and upgrades of the line. You have remembered that we have had challenges of derailment either through poor maintenance, but also through theft and vandalism. So parallel to the work that we are doing of getting more investors and participants, is also dealing with the criminality around the rail network infrastructure. And that on its own makes sure that you can then have an improvement in the tonnage that is moved through rail. And as we have indicated in the statement, the country is targeting to move 200 million tons by 2029. So you see a steady increase towards that 200 million tonnage, because they're going to introduce more players and more participants. They've indicated that from 2026 27, which starts next year, these participants will bring in an additional 20 million tons on the rail line, which is an improvement from the current numbers that we're sitting on. But linked to that also is the removal of trucks from the roads. You know the major damage that the trucks do on our roads, but also to decongest the main roads as the cargo will start to move towards the rail movement instead of road movement, thus protecting the infrastructure upgrades in there. So that is what this work is going to do. So it improves the efficiency. It means the ability to move more and effectiveness and respond more. It also improves the investment in maintenance. It also opens the economy more for more goods to move across the economy through the rail infrastructure. Thank you very much. Those were all the questions that we had. Thank you very much. I want to wish you a very good weekend. Those of you traveling across the country, in particular in the major routes, there are congregants who are traveling to Moria for the annual Kopano or annual conference of the ZCC Church. ZCC churches, both the St. Agnes and ZCC. So we plead with you to be very careful on the road, to take your time. You cannot be in the rush. The congestion is high. Work with law enforcement and traffic officers on the road to keep within the speed limit, because the travel time is going to be longer given the congestion of the buses going to Moria. We request that when you are tired, please rest so that we can reduce the number of accidents on our roads. And to the congregants of the ZCC and the St. Agnes Church, we wish you a happy and successful conference weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Milambo, and the session is adjourned. Thank you very much.